My name is Melissa. I'm 42 years old, born and raised in Kennebec County, and I'm here today representing the 41% of households in our community that are ALICE, Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. At 19, I became very ill with an incurable and chronic stomach disorder called cyclic emesis, also known as cyclic vomiting syndrome. It's characterized by violent stomach migraines, relentless vomiting, and severe light and sound sensitivity. Though I was raised with strong role models who taught me the value of working hard, sacrificing, and saving to get ahead, I found myself homeless, with no money, and so sick that I couldn't take care of myself. On those rare occasions where my illness subsided for a few days, I tried to maintain the integrity I was taught by working hard where and when I could. I'd fill out applications, go on interviews, and get hired, but within 1 to 6 weeks, I'd get fired. I've been fired from dozens and dozens of jobs for being sick and unreliable. If it wasn't for my family, who allowed me to move home on several occasions and supported me through my efforts to become healthy and well, I don't know how I would have survived. At 24 years old, I set my pride aside and signed up for Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI. It took about a year, but thanks to the many jobs I had lost, I was approved and finally had a small monthly income. At my lowest, I had become addicted to opiates, as it was the only relief medical professionals were able to provide me for my stomach issues before I understood what coping skills were. From that, I was having suicidal thoughts. I felt ashamed, and that I was less than nothing and just using up resources that other people, more deserving people, needed. I felt unworthy, and inevitably I overdosed. On that day, I was grateful for two things. One, that my son wasn't home, and two, that the EMTs were able to resuscitate me. That horrible ordeal was a blessing in disguise, because the following week, knowing that I needed to find my path in sobriety and I needed to get out of my house and out of my head, I joined a group for people in recovery. There, I met a wonderful young woman who told me about Bridging the Gap, where she was a volunteer. All the years struggling with no money, I couldn't believe I'd never heard of this amazing resource. I began utilizing its free clothing bank and hygiene pantry to help make ends meet. Having a young boy who was growing and moving through sizes quickly, the clothing bank was such a blessing. At that time, SSDI was less than $800 a month, and my rent alone was 30% of that. Then trying to pay my car payment, insurance, gas, groceries, things like toothpaste, toilet paper, shampoo, or laundry and dish soap were luxury items, as SNAP benefits do not cover things like that. So finding the hygiene pantry was an incredible relief. I started to feel human again. After a short while of being a guest at Bridging the Gap, I filled out an application to become a volunteer. This is really where my life began to turn around. As a volunteer, I was given the opportunity for a meaningful experience serving my community. I also met weekly with a qualified staff member who helped me make goals and figure out how to reach them. She became my mentor, and having had her own life experiences with substance use disorder, she was my cheerleader and champion, helping me keep my feet firmly planted on my path to recovery. After a couple of short years volunteering, a staff position became available, and Bridging the Gap invited me to join them as a member of staff. Now, I have a wonderful job that I love and allows me to use my lived experience to be an empathetic ear for many of our guests who daily experience all of the things I survived: being homeless, having no money, having no food, struggling with mental health and/or substance use disorder, to now being sober with wonderfully kind people around me rooting for me and being trusted with responsibilities without fear of being fired when my stomach acts up. That relief and peace of mind has allowed me to start healing and to get my stomach episodes down from most of the month every month to now episodes lasting only 1 to 7 days, and it only happens 2 to 4 times a year. Even though life is so much better now, there are still barriers that stop me from fulfilling my dreams. My biggest dream is to own a home of my own that no one can ever throw me out of, a place where I can grow old without burdening my loved ones. But because I'm on disability, I'm not allowed to save more than $2,000. Recently, I had to replace the tires, brakes, and rotors on my vehicle. That one job alone cost $2,000. How can I ever get ahead? I've always lived in constant fight or flight mode, with fear always laying just under the surface, and worries of money never far from my mind. I would like to work more, but right now I make what I'm allowed to make monthly to keep the SSDI and health insurance that I still need, as I have other health issues that are unignorable. I've had to refuse raises to not go over what I'm allowed to make, which is really frustrating. When COVID quarantine ended, my SNAP benefits were reduced to $23 a month. When I went to DHHS to end this benefit, I discovered that ending it meant I would no longer qualify for low-income housing energy assistance, which helps me with my heating bill, because even though I live in subsidized housing, the heat and hot water are electric and the heating bill is on me. That's $200 a month to keep my apartment a brisk 58 degrees all winter long. I get no break from that bill in the warm months, as the hot, humid summers have intensified and air conditioning is now a necessity. We only have an AC unit in one room in our home, but that still drives the bill up to a painful $180 a month, where it used to be only $44 a month. To further make ends meet, I also meticulously plan meals and utilize the Faith Food Pantry and Gardener, so my son will never, under my care, know going hungry. But it is a struggle, as he's now 15 and can easily eat $300 to $400 worth of groceries a month on his own. There is so much confusing red tape dealing with the government agencies. A lot of paperwork, reviews every 6 months, notifying DHS and Social Security of any changes, even small things. To maintain benefits, I have to constantly print pay stubs and give them to both agencies and property management. I have no privacy, and I'm open to the judgments and scrutiny of people I have to report to constantly. I would love to see a program where people who want to work their way off SSDI. I'd happily let go of the help little by little as I get stronger and healthier, but it doesn't seem to work that way. It's all or nothing. Plus, if I do let go of the SSDI benefits, I'll no longer qualify for the subsidized housing, so I'd be forced out of my home. And with rentals being over $1,000 a month, there's just no way I'd be able to afford that. There are a lot of people like me, fellow Alice people, who struggle every day to just survive. But just surviving isn't living. In the social, political, and economic climate of our time, it's more and more important that people help each other. I won't stop helping where I can, and I hope I can have a hand in inspiring others to do the same. I thank you all for listening, being here this morning, and being the change that fuels our community. Thank you.